Good morning. I'm going to try to do this quick because, as you can see, my laptop battery is on 11% and I'm standing in the shop. So, make sure you do your bell ringer picture, all the things you want to do today. If you try to do them all at once, what would happen? Would that go well? What do you think? If I try to teach all my classes at one time today, what do you think would happen? Okay, so read first, as always, our standards and our objectives, do your bell ringer. So today's lesson will focus on prioritizing your tasks and goals, which will allow us to get them all done one at a time. So what does it mean to prioritize something? Prioritizing means to place a group of items in order from most important to least important. So I have an assignment for you. Setting and achieving goals. Okay, so make sure you highlight your answers. I'll take off 10 points if you don't do that. So list people, places, or things that are important to you. As they come to your head, 10 items, go. List the same items as before, but now put them in order. What's the most important all the way to least important? How did you prioritize the different items on your list? Like, how did you decide what was first and what was last? Imagine you have 3 things to do, okay? Go to a party, do your homework, or do some chores around the house. How would you prioritize the task? And then explain to me why you would prioritize them that way. Like, for example, if I was in high school, I would do my chores first, then I would do my homework, and then I would go to the party. Because if I don't do the chores, my mom and dad are going to get on to me. Homework is important because you need to make good grades in school. Then last is party, because that's like a selfish thing that I want to do. I want to hang out with my friends. Okay. So what would you do if you only had 1 hour to finish your homework and do household chores, but each of these tasks would take an hour to complete? Why did you wait to the last minute to do both? But now you have to prioritize what is more important. Okay, what solutions do you have for the conflicting goals of doing homework, going to the party, and doing the chores? Okay, so what is your solution to the problem? Okay, so after that, let's see. People often prioritize tasks they must do so that they know which things to focus on. You need to know your task in order to establish an order of priority. If you don't know what you're doing, how do you know what's more important? As simple as that sounds, people often waste time just trying to remember the things they need to get done when they have a lot to get done. A list of tasks is a useful tool for prioritizing activities. So there are different ways to prioritize a list to produce different results. What criteria could you use to prioritize the different items on your list of tasks to accomplish? So you could put them in chronological order, importance, what's most important, least important, what you need to do in order to achieve a goal. So prioritizing is a decision-making process, and we know how to make decisions. Remember, we learned how to do that. So they are deciding which task to do first or spend the most time on. It's important to consider the consequences of the decision-making process. Once you've determined what the likely consequences are, you must decide which of the consequences is the most important to you. Time is almost always an element in prioritizing. Some activities, such as chores or homework, may be limited to one day. Other activities, such as long-term career goals, can take place over several years. Conflicting goals are when you have several tasks and not all of them can be complete. When you change your priorities, you have to look at the consequences. It is important that you do not make a change that seems positive in the short term but has a negative impact on your long-term goals. So, things you need to remember. Prioritizing means ordering items from the most important to the least important, so that goals can be accomplished. The criteria for prioritizing can differ depending on circumstances and needs. It's important to consider the consequences when prioritizing activities, and when goals conflict, it's important to consider alternatives that might resolve the problem. And then you have an assessment, like always. How does setting priorities help people accomplish their goals? List all of the things that you need to do this week and prioritize that list. So we're kind of at the end of the week, so if you're doing this tomorrow, maybe let's talk next week. What goals do you have for next week? What are the things you need to get done next week? And then what criteria did you use to prioritize your list? How did you decide what things were important for next week? That's all I have. I hope you're enjoying this setting goals or talking about our goals unit. I hope you're happy and healthy, and I hope to see you soon. Don't forget about our Count Food Drive. Okay,